Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. Today we're talking Jaylen Waddle with the man himself, Chris, the Entertainah, coming over from YouTube to help us break down Jaylen Waddle, take a look at his film. I'm really excited. Jaylen Waddle is one of the top wide receiver prospects for the 2021 draft class. Aside from, Jamar Chase, you have DeVonta Smith and some other really talented players. But Waddle's a guy, coming off an ankle injury, kind of going under the radar, but still very much in the top 10 conversation, and the Giants could have a chance at him at 11. But before we dive into the nitty gritty and take a look at his film, Chris, how you doing, my friend?
Doing well, man. Thank you for having me on. And the second you told me that we were going to be doing a film breakdown on Jaylen Waddle, I got really excited. You look at mocks right now, he seems to be the most realistic option of the three that could drop to us. But obviously, you still have the Heisman hype from DeVonta Smith. He doesn't weigh in. He doesn't get measured. I don't think he's nearly as fast as this guy. And the funny thing is, Smith actually weighs more than he does, even though he's, I think, listed 3 inches shorter. I think he's 5'10", 182, blazing fast. And I do not think he's strictly, and we're going to see it in the film, I'm sure, strictly a slot wide receiver. A lot of people say that because of his height. This guy, he could go up and grab it. He's fast. He's a pretty good route runner. I am so excited to jump into the film of Jaylen Waddle.
Yeah, absolutely, Anthony. How you doing, my friend, as well?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to watch this also because I really like Jaylen Waddle. I do prefer Jaylen Waddle to DeVonta Smith. I give him the slight edge in terms of my, personal preferences of these top three wide receiver prospects, him, Smith, Chase. I like Chase the most, and then Waddle I do like more than DeVonta Smith. The thing with Waddle is, like you mentioned, he does primarily play the slot, but he has the ability to go outside. He plays a lot larger than he really is. He is very physical and aggressive. He's not a perfect prospect by any means, but really the main thing is that he has just such unteachable traits, that speed. You can't teach that speed. Like you said before we started recording, Chris, you can't teach that speed, and it's a game changer. It's a game breaker. And it's something that the Giants really haven't had in their offense since when? When have they had a guy that was that electric and that blazing fast as a focal point in their offense? I don't even remember when we had that. So that could really change the way that the Giants play football, play offense, and really the way that they build their team. Waddle is kind of a guy you have to build an offensive scheme around. That's one con you can probably throw out there right off the bat, that you have to really build your offense around him to really set him up in the passing game and even in the running game, because he can take a lot of those end arounds and stuff too, and screen passes and all that. So he's a very dynamic, versatile prospect, and he's very actually just fun to watch. He's exciting. So I'm excited to dive into the film, and let's get to it.
Yeah, with Jaylen Waddle, man, like you said, you have to design a scheme around him. But the best part about that is that he demands so much attention when you do that. So it really opens up the field for other players. The running game, guys like Sterling Shepard, throwing the deep ball, maybe Darius Slayton pushing the field. That's what I like about that. If you design plays around him, create that attention, and defenses have to always have their eye on him, it really opens up those man cover situations against those CB2, CB3s. And that's where the real production comes from when you have guys like Darius Slayton. We saw this past year, he wasn't able to take advantage of CB1s and CB2s. But when you give him a good matchup and you have so many guys just that demand attention, that's where you have those late round picks like Darius Slayton, former 5th rounder, come in and make those deep passes and really create that production, those touchdowns. But I'm really excited to get into this film, so let's get to it. Okay, so jumping right into the first video, obviously you can see at the bottom of your screen, there's a circle around Jaylen Waddle. Alabama love to use him in motion, and that pre-snap motion really creates a lot of confusion for opposing defenses. And the same thing goes for the NFL. They love to use pre-snap motion. Jason Garrett didn't do it as much as we would have liked, but again, he didn't have the real talent to get it done. So you'll see here, he's playing in this kind of outside, but he moves into the Z spot right behind. It looks like DeVonta Smith. He goes in right behind him, and he just takes off right across the middle of the field, and he runs just a gorgeous route. He runs into triple coverage, but his athleticism and agility and ability to stop on a dime always shows up on tape, and this is one of those situations where he does just that.
Oh, I like this guy, man. I like this guy. I'm thinking, before you even showed this play, the one player you didn't mention how it's going to affect is Saquon Barkley. Like, I think about having a player like this, dynamic like this. You stack the box on the Giants with this guy, with his speed, it's lights out. And if you don't stack the box against Barkley, he's going to have a field day. I get excited having a player like this in the starting lineup, it completely changes, like you said, the whole dynamic of the offense. And you see him run. I think this is like a slow go route. He stops on a dime. This guy's scary good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
this
pretty
route
impressive.
is kind of insane. You know, just the way that he's able to drop his hips and then just cut and turn back the other way. It's really, really impressive. And it's a nice catch there too, you know. Speed is very noticeable, jumps right off of the tape, and just yeah, right there where you have it paused is really where he puts on that move. And it's just so impressive to see how he glides out of this break. It's very, very impressive. One thing that I'll point out though at the beginning of this play, like you mentioned earlier, Alex, this is the Z receiver spot, right? So he's not getting any sort of press coverage here. And that's another thing when you're talking about building the scheme around Jaylen Waddle, you probably don't want him pressed. You know, you don't want him up against press coverage. So you do things just like this. You put him in motion, you put him in that Z spot, and you don't even have to worry about it because he's so fast off the line of scrimmage that with that cushion being 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, there's no touching him. You know, you're not going to be able to get to him. And then you can do things like this, put DeVonta Smith in front of him, and then make them switch corners. You know, so really, it's a nice play design by Alabama as well to set this up for a pretty easy opportunity for Jaylen Waddle just to go out there, and then all he has to do is execute. And man, does he execute and creates 5-7 yards of separation here with a disgusting route. So, you know, really nice stuff. This is, you know, that wide receiver one stuff. This is, you know, a lot of people, I'll throw this out here. I say this all the time. Alex knows this. A lot of Giants fans are always tweeting at me or Alex, or I'm sure you too, Chris, and saying they don't want Jaylen Waddle because he's a slot receiver, because he's short and we need a big body outside receiver. That's not a thing in the NFL anymore. That's not, having a big body doesn't make you an outside wide receiver. In fact, a lot of big body receivers play in the slot because they're not good at getting off of press coverage. Michael Thomas actually plays a lot in the slot. It's called the jumbo slot now. So when you have a guy like Jaylen Waddle who can separate and get open like this, it doesn't matter if he's tall or if he's thick. He's skinny and he's fast and he separates on his routes. That's what makes you an outside wide receiver, if you separate on your routes and you can get past number one corners. That's what makes him a wide receiver one. Has nothing to do with his alignment in the slot or outside, at least in my humble opinion. So I don't know. I want to put that to bed, especially because I hear a lot of people say the thing about Sterling Shepard being a slot receiver. Sterling Shepard hasn't played slot receiver in 3 years. He's been playing on the outside. You just got to go watch the tape and see that. All of his snaps have been on the outside, or at least 75% of them. So when you look at that, it's not really about the body type. It's about the skill set. Sterling Shepard's our best route runner. Therefore, he's on the outside. Jaylen Waddle is a filthy route runner. He's very good at separating against man coverage. Therefore, he is an outside wide receiver, and that's where he will succeed. Not on the line of scrimmage, but just a couple steps back from the line of scrimmage so he doesn't get that jam coverage. That's where he'll succeed in the NFL. Of course, he'll kill it from the slot as well, but he does have the ability to play on the outside, and no one should think otherwise.
I 100% agree, and I like the word you used before when you said he glides. You know, that was something that stood out to me because when you watch this route, a lot of times you'll see receivers, they'll stutter step into this break and then they'll break out. He has that athleticism and he's so light and just agile on his feet. All he has to do, he's running almost full speed right here. He sticks that foot in the ground and he takes off in an entirely different direction. And that cornerback or that defensive back, as you can see, he needs to stutter step just to stop and turn his hips around. He can't stick his foot in the ground and bolt the other direction. That is just elite athleticism being displayed on the field. And you can see it. This is just creation and separation at its finest. And I love how they use him in so many different ways. And think about Tyreek Hill. Everybody in the NFL would love to have Tyreek Hill on their team. And he plays primarily out of the slot. So you're thinking about it, you know, some of the best wide receivers in the NFL play from the slot. And I think Jaylen Waddle has that kind of potential too.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers now in the NFL. I did a video on this last year. I think like 35 to 40% of the passes are thrown to the slot receiver in today's NFL. It's completely changed over the last 10 years. And height isn't everything. You think about Antonio Brown, you think about Odell Beckham. Those guys didn't have unbelievable height. They had great athleticism. They were great route runners, and they were able to create separation. That's the name of the game. That's what we talk about on the New York Giants right now. And I would love a tall wide receiver as well. You go out there, you bring in a guy like Kenny Golladay, and then you bring in Waddle. You know, the versatility, too. Like, that's what Joe Judge always talks about. He wants guys that could do multiple things. You bring in a guy like Waddle, that's what he brings to the table. You could play him in the slot. You could play him on the outside. You could put him in motion. You could get creative with a guy like this. And I don't know if he's going to be there. I personally think, in my mock draft's coming out in a couple of days, people are going to call me crazy. I think he's going to go before DeVonta Smith because I think teams are going to see what this guy could bring to the table and it jumps out at you when you see him on film.
It
Yeah, it
really
wouldn't
does.
shock me. It's about, do you want the film or do you want like the statistics and production in college? You know, a lot of NFL scouts are going to go for the film. But I love 2 points that you made, Chris, and I want to touch on those real quick. First of all, with Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. being short guys who just dominated because of their route running and separation, they were outside wide receivers. So case in point right there. Odell played, yeah, he played a lot in the slot. He moved around, but primarily he was our number one outside wide receiver. He would line up on the right side. Remember that play against the Baltimore Ravens that he took to the house, the game winner, lined up on the outside and just kills the corner with a great route. And that's exactly what you need. And then the other point that you made, which I'm forgetting now, you said the height thing and then the slot thing. Right. Your number one wide receiver can play in the slot. Your number one wide receiver doesn't have to play outside. Like you mentioned, a lot of the target share is going towards the slot now. So Jaylen Waddle being a slot receiver just should not shy away any fans of any team, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a nice little route here. I wanted to include nice video put together by the Scouting Academy. This is just sick. And what he does here is similar to GameStop in the market manipulation. He manipulates these defensive backs' feet. You know, he does such a good job of manipulating the defensive backs that are trying to cover him. That safety is trying to play him inside, and really you see him right here. He gets to those toes, right to the toes of that corner, and he breaks inside. And the second he has that awareness around him and that vision. The second he feels those guys bolt inward, he hits him with just a nasty double move. And he creates, this is what the Giants lacked last year. They were last in the league in yards of separation for their wide receivers. Nobody really stood out. This guy is going to create separation because not only is he faster than Henry Ruggs, but he's an unbelievable route runner that isn't just a go route type of receiver. He can run a majority of the route tree, and he's only going to continue to develop. And one of the things that, we didn't even include in this video for the most part is his ability to run drag routes, his ability to run across the line of scrimmage, pick yards up. We saw it with Evan Ingram against the Buccaneers last year, that 75-yarder. That's the type of athleticism he has, but he doesn't drop the football like Evan Ingram. So imagine the playmaking ability from a wide receiver standpoint that Evan Ingram has, but he doesn't drop the football, and he actually is even better of a route runner and just more capable of creating this production. And you can see the separation here. He waits until the final moment for that safety to jump. He just bolts down the sluggo right up the middle, right up the seam, and he's gone. Look, you're talking 5-6 yards of separation. He has to slow down for the ball, right? And the guy's nipping at his heels, and he still takes off for the touchdown. Just incredible athleticism and speed.
Yeah, that you can't teach. And this is probably one of those plays. I would imagine this is one of those plays where they kind of give Waddle an option, and if the safety bites, maybe you run a curl pattern or a crossing pattern. If he doesn't, you take it straight up the field. He sees the safety bites, and then you see the speed take off, and it's lights out. You can't keep up with that. Once he gets to running, if he leads him here, he's 10 yards ahead of them. I mean, like you said, he had to slow down, and then he hits the charge button again. Incredible display of his athleticism on this play.
When you look at a play like this, guys, I want to get your opinion. What do you think he's going to run as a 40 time? I know there's no scouting combine this year, but they'll do a pro day. And I assume if he's healthy, if his ankle's healed, he's going to run. What do you think his 40 time is going to be? I know that's something that a lot of people are going to talk about.
I think he'll probably, I was going to say 4.27 is my number.
What was Ruggs last year? He was mid 4.2s, right?
I think he was 4.27.
I think it'll be right around the same. 4.25,
yeah, I saw a race. I saw a race between them, and Jaylen Waddle beat him by about a step. So maybe 4.26, 4.27, like right in that range, if he's healthy. That's the big point.
I think he runs 4.3 flat, which is still amazing.
Yeah,
I think he runs 4.3 flat. So we'll see who's right at the end of the day in a couple months here. We'll see.
I'll take a 4.3 flat.
I'll take it too.
I'll take a 4.35. Yeah.
A 4.3. Yeah, because I think he can be faster too. I don't think he is a college player with college level development and college level trainers. When you go to the NFL, it gets even better. You know what I mean? So I think he could get even faster at the next level. Maybe they'll ask him to put a little bit more weight on, but I don't think that they actually will, because this is his game. He's so elusive and so agile. He kind of reminds me of like a Rondell Moore, but just doesn't get injured. You know what I mean? Or not injured as much. That's funny because he actually
definitely does get injured.
What's most impressive about
but not like that.
What's most impressive about the first two routes though is the change of direction, but it's like he loses no speed. It's almost like he ran a go route on both routes, because he literally doesn't lose any speed when he changes his route. It's incredible. You don't see that often.
It's scary. I don't think human beings' legs are supposed to work that way, but for Jaylen Waddle, they do. It's incredible.
There's one play you're gonna
He
see
has to slow
that
down.
that just blew my mind when I saw it. And this is the play right here. He takes a wide receiver screen to the house. And right here, look at all the defensive backs in the area. Then you got 1, 2, 3. Right off the bat, you got 3 guys. And they have chances to tackle him. They have good angles. He just creates separation, and he is so freaking fast, man. This guy is the next Cheetah. He is that fast, that athletic. You're going to see right now why. It's just mind-blowing. He squeezes that sideline, and look right here, you expect someone to get him, maybe even a little bit sooner. I'd say about right here, you have a defensive back that looks like a lineman and a cornerback here who has leverage on the outside. You would expect him to get caught right here. He's also tripped up by that attempted tackle. Look what he does here. Look at this breakaway speed. It's unbelievable. Look at this. He put on the extra burners, the afterburners here. You kidding me?
Wow. Who's he going up against? Is this like a high school team? Oh my God. He makes them look. He looks like he's like 5 steps faster than everybody else.
Oh my God. I mean, look at that one guy behind him. He's like, these guys aren't just normal athletes. They're above average athletes, even at the collegiate level. I mean, this guy, number 17, he has no idea. This guy's cement in his shoes for all he knows. God.
Yeah.
Well, I like where you pause it. If you go back, you could see that there's people who are ahead of him, and he outruns them.
That's what I'm saying. Right here, they have good angles. If 22 puts on the burners here, he can cut him off. I don't even think he expected him to look, he's kind of like jogging right now, 22 right here, right next to 37. He's jogging. I don't even think he expects him to turn that corner so fast, because you can see right here, like he's just jogging, we're going to get him. And then he realizes that Jaylen Waddle, you don't mess with the Waddle. He just takes off.
Yeah, right here. If you just pause this, look at number 9 in the middle of the field. If you want to circle him, if you could see him. Right, yeah, look at him. He's sprinting now too, and he's ahead of Waddle. And Waddle just outruns the entire defense. Like, it's actually crazy. And especially considering that Waddle broke a tackle and was turning a corner when he did this. He just outruns everybody. Okay. Like, he wasn't even going straight. Waddle was literally gaining acceleration while turning. So
what play this reminds me of?
Turning upfield, and then it's just like, it's freakish. It doesn't even make sense. And it looks like a Tyreek Hill type play.
Oh, it does. This play reminds me of Victor Cruz against the Cowboys a couple of years ago. Remember that play? He catches it and he goes around the edge.
Oh,
and he just off. This is what that reminds me of. It's a different design. It's a different design. Yeah, it took us to the playoffs. A different design, but it's just right here where he gets around that edge. And it's just the next level speed. He's gone. You can't catch him. I mean, that's why speed kills in the NFL. If you can make people miss and you can outrun guys like this is the difference between winning and losing games. The Giants didn't have anyone that can do this type of thing right here. And that's why they average 17.5 points per game, because they don't have a home run hitter. OBJ would be good for one big play a game. And that 7 points on the board you didn't have before. That's momentum you didn't have before. When your offense just can't get it done, you're just dragging out drives because you have to run the ball with Wayne Gallman and you can't pass the ball. This is that's what happens. You just can't score points. But when you have big playmakers. Not only does it give your defense a jolt, it gives your team a jolt. You'd be surprised how important momentum and just that good positive energy is for a team and actually just a winning football team with that.
You get him and Barkley on the same team. I mean, if Barkley's 100%, this offense could become good real quick. You talk about home run hitters. This guy's got home run written all over him.
Yeah, I actually love that point that you keep bringing up, Chris, with Saquon and how they have to stack the box to stop Saquon. But then if you do that and you have Jaylen Waddle on this offense, good luck. It's like that dynamic. It's that fire and ice, right? Like, I could see it.
Pick your poison.
Right. I just hope I hope the Giants front office and coaching staff sees it the same way. I hope that they see, because my only fear is, right, with Jaylen Waddle, like when we were discussing earlier about his size but his ability to play on the outside, I almost fear like sometimes the Giants have a very old school mentality and they might think that they have to get a big body guy on the outside just because that's like the old school idea, right? But I think that when you look at a play like the one that just played on the screen, you don't need a big body if you can go up there and make plays like this. Like, I just hope the Giants realize it, man. Like, this literally looks like Randy Moss in Tyreek Hill's body. He's just special, man. I love Jaylen Waddle.
I mean, it's right here, just straight up. The cornerback's playing off-ball coverage, right? He's basically, he knows this is a go route. The cornerback knows, and he's already starting to run this route for him. And Jaylen Waddle, you can see about right here, right there, he turns on the Jets, man, and number 24 has no idea what just flew by him. He's on the Autobahn in the slow lane right now. It's unbelievable, this type of speed that Jaylen Waddle has, because he just turns on those afterburners, and look at this. Talk about separation. You know, we didn't have guys last year with the Giants that had this type of speed, had this type of athleticism and playmaking ability. And then just to top it all off, he creates 3 yards of separation downfield, which is something we haven't seen very often. That safety's like, the safety has his back turned to him right here. Look at the safety. He's like, oh crap, this is not good. And he turns around. He's like, I'm just going to try and make a play on the ball. And Jaylen Waddle, now he has 3 yards of separation, 4 yards of separation on the cornerback that was initially guarding him. And the safety tries to come back around and help him. But Jaylen Waddle just has amazing body control. I mean, look at this catch, man. He's in the air mid-flight. He's bracing for impact. Like, he's going to get hit right here. Right. This is going to be a shot play right to his chest. He holds onto the football. He ends up body slamming, like Undertaker style, body slamming that safety and just, securing the catch. It's really impressive to see, with the body control and the ability to catch in traffic. Like, that's the biggest thing, and just having that awareness that there's somebody there.
Yeah, and I'll say that throw probably shouldn't have been made with that safety lurking. And, Mac Jones probably shouldn't have thrown this one. This really very well could have been picked. But, when you have Jaylen Waddle,
it's okay. Right here, it's okay.
Him.
The safety has his back turned. I think it's a pretty safe throw. I just think maybe you should have led him more to the. It's a
cover one.
Middle.
It's a cover one, and he throws it deep down the middle. Like, that shouldn't happen.
It should have been closer to our side.
So. No, you're not supposed to throw the ball down the deep middle in a cover one. Like, this ball should not have been thrown, but it works because it's Jaylen Waddle. He can just go up there and get it. And the throw is good. It kind of like helps him. It's a good throw. It just shouldn't have been thrown. So, like, I think Jaylen Waddle recognized that. He was like, oh, man, this is cover one. There's a deep safety, and Mac Jones is tossing this bomb up there. I better get in the right position instantly so that I can get up there and catch this. And I think you see that because he doesn't really get in position and jump. He's aware that he has to get to the ball first. So he jumps off of 1 foot like he's doing a layup in basketball, which you don't really see too often. You don't see wide receivers jump off of 1 foot and just start flying through the air. Super rare. I've seen Odell do it a couple times when he was playing for us, but the way that he leaps here off of 1 foot, like, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of freakish. Everything is freakish, though.
The only thing I'll say here is that I do think that the receiver in the slot running this crosser, and Mac Jones tries to look his way to look that safety off. He ends up doing that. But I think the ball should have been out a little bit earlier, and this route from the slot should have been a little bit deeper just to try and get that safety to bite. But at the end of the day, it was a completion. This is really about Jaylen Waddle. The throws were irrelevant. The entire design is irrelevant. The fact is, we're talking about Jaylen Waddle's elite level speed and his ability to make a catch in coverage, in traffic, and create that separation right off the bat and just burn his assignment.
Yeah. That guy, again, he changed direction again, didn't lose any kind of speed. And he jumps up in the air. He's airborne. That's 21 feet in the air. That's 7 yards in the air. He jumps at man. I didn't even realize 27 or 28, and he lands at the 20. I mean, that's ridiculous. And
that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he thinks that.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize how far he went. He went like 10 yards in the air.
Well, that's what I was saying with that 1 foot jump. Like, that's usually for distance. You usually don't even have a situation where you have to do that as a wide receiver, but he just leaps off of 1 foot again, like he's dunking a basketball. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Well, yeah, it's like the Jordan dunk. He's dunking from the free throw line.
It's like the free throw line dunk, yeah.
It's actually a good angle because you can see he brings this into his chest and he secures it really, really nicely because he knows that hit is coming. So he grabs this ball. He doesn't keep his hands out. He really grabs his ball right here and he brings it in and he just tucks. And right here, he has that ball protected. So it's a nice job of him actually, securing that football and knowing that hit is coming and just preparing his body for impact. That's just another testament to his awareness and just his body control while in the air, 50 yards downfield, jumping 8 yards long, just unbelievable. You can't teach, again, like Chris said before, you can't teach this type of thing. It's just absolute instincts.
Yeah, and even if the guy doesn't put up numbers, just the threat of him is going to help the guys underneath. It's going to help the Shepherds. It's going to help the Ingrams. It's going to help the Barkleys in the pass game, having that type of threat on the outside.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanted to see speed, this is you came to the right place. I mean, just unbelievable. This little wheel on the outside is just gorgeous, man.
See ya.
Yeah, I mean, the corner's diving at his ankles.
Yeah, this is another play where I really like the play design. Again, they scheme it so that Jaylen Waddle doesn't get pressed here. He runs this wheel route, and it actually confuses Georgia's defense. The cornerbacks have to switch, and then they do, and it puts him like a step behind. And then once you're a step behind Waddle, you're done. If you lose a step on Jaylen Waddle, you're instantly 5 steps behind him, and then you're 20 steps behind him, and then he's in the end zone. Like you lose that leverage and you are done. He is just way too fast. So right here, when they make this switch and they get all confused, he gains a little bit of leverage, and it's all she wrote.
And what I love about it is that they force that safety in the back end right over here. They force him to make a decision. They really just bait him into following that post across the middle. And that's what I like the most about it. Just the scheming. This is what we're talking about, though. The play design is so important to getting receivers open. I'm just terrified Jason Garrett's not going to be able to scheme guys like this open. I imagine he will, because they'll have the offseason to really test things out, the preseason and whatnot. But you look at a play like this, man, and you just bait that safety, and you see Waddle on the back end, man. And all Mac Jones has to do is throw this as far as he can, and Jaylen Waddle will just run it down. That's the best part about having a guy with elite speed, 4.25, 4.3 speed. You just have to throw it up as far as you possibly can, and he will find a way to get underneath of it. That's just the benefit of having a guy like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's a bad job by the safety, I guess, and a good play design to take his eyes off of him on the crossing pattern. But you give him one-on-one down the field, and that's your only chance. You got his best chance there was to tackle him before the throw got there and get a pass interference, because
exactly
that's touchdown every time you give him that kind of space. And I'll tell you what, if Jason Garrett can't scheme this guy open with Barkley in the lineup, he's in the wrong profession.
I completely agree. And this is against Georgia. It's not a joke of a school. They're going against really good talent. So it's really nice to see, going against NFL level, like defensive scheme, defensive, alignments and stuff like that. It's really nice to see a receiver of Jaylen Waddle's, quality, just dominating quality level talent, so that's kind of what I enjoy about watching his film specifically. Anthony, but, I want you to break down this one for us.
All right, as the ambulance passes your house, I'll break this one down. This is a drop. Okay, so every other play that we've watched was really, really good. So I want to be, we got to be impartial here. Got to show some good, some bad. There's not a lot of bad with Jaylen Waddle, but I will say this is a tough catch. This probably isn't the best example of a drop, but he does have the occasional drop. I watched probably 4 full film games on him, and I saw probably 3 drops. So I don't really like that. I think that's a little too high. I would rather see, in a random sample of 4 games, 1 drop is probably all that I would be okay with seeing. But I saw probably like 3 or 4, and I was like, okay, maybe it's a little concerning. I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it's something that's going to prevent him from becoming an NFL like dominant wide receiver. I think he has all the skills and tools to do that. I just think he does have the occasional drop, so I want to throw that out here. This is a great route. He does a great job getting open and separating. The ball's a little high, but it goes right through his hands, and it does hit his hands. You could see it. It is a little high. Maybe you want to point to this play as he's limited by his height. You could say that. That could be a fair criticism on this play. I really just think he just dropped it. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes the ball just squirts out of his hands. I've seen it happen a few times, and I just wanted to throw it out there so everybody can know that is a thing with Jaylen Waddle. The occasional drop exists, but it's not really something that takes away from how talented he is. It's really not a huge problem. But I know that, Giants fans feel a certain way about drops after watching Evan Engram's 2020 season. So yeah. I figured I'll throw that out there. He does have the occasional drop. It's something you got to live with Jaylen Waddle, but the good far outweighs the bad with this prospect.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at this this alignment, this
Yeah,
duo.
again, I'll say to that, Alex,
They do
again,
this a lot, it seems.
you can't press coverage him. You cannot get him in press coverage. They are
Yep.
so smart with the way that they scheme it because they know press coverage is not a good thing for Jaylen Waddle. So they just scheme it together. You can never get your hands on him within 5 yards, and then he's going to outrun you after 5 yards. So it's, if he ends up with the Giants and Jason Garrett's still the OC, we have to see him implement things like this where you're not getting this guy jammed on the line of
You would
scrimmage.
think, being the Judge has a relationship with Saban, Judge would come out and say, if we draft this player, we got to use him a certain way. I'm sure. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you. But yeah, you see this a lot where they stack the wide receivers to create separation for Waddle, and it is great play design by Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at this right now and saying to myself, imagine that receiver in front of Jaylen Waddle is Sterling Shepard. And imagine they run this exact same concept, except Sterling Shepard's running a whip route. And you can see right here, if he runs this whip right here and Jaylen Waddle goes around, that cornerback is following him. And you have Sterling Shepard wide open in the flats, and that's a nice little gain. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do so many different things with these type of duos. And when you already have NFL level talent, Sterling Shepard is a very, very talented route runner. You can do so much. And Jaylen Waddle, as you guys mentioned, plays a lot in that Z spot, a couple feet back from the line of scrimmage. And that gives him that running start. They can't press him. If you're running full speed right past a guy, there's no way you're going to get pressed. And he's so athletic and dynamic. He can run right around any attempt at a press from that Z spot. So the Giants didn't really use that very much in 2020. They didn't really have the talent to do so. So I'd love to see, if you get a guy like Waddle, you can mismatch Sterling Shepard and Waddle just over and over and over again and create so many awesome play designs that you can't stop them. And then it really gives guys like, Dante Pettis, Darius Slayton, if you get a guy in free agency, it really gives them so many great man coverage matchups on the opposite side of the field that, you have an opportunity. And then you have Saquon Barkley, if you're doing halfback draws, if you're doing anything in the running game, halfback screens, you have to commit guys to stopping Waddle and Sterling Shepard and a free agent wide receiver. You're not going to have that many guys in the screen game. And if you have two guys trying to tackle Saquon Barkley in open field, you're not going to tackle him. He's going to break through. He's going to make a big play. He's going to create, just ample yardage out of it. So that's really the major thing here is nobody commanded enough attention for the Giants in 2020. None of their playmakers were able to do that. But with the guys that we're looking at, DeVonta Smith, Jaylen Waddle, Jamar Chase even, and you got Saquon back, maybe free agent wide receiver, they're just demand so much attention that you simply can't man cover everybody. You have to be allocating two guys to Saquon at all times, two guys to maybe, Allen Robinson, let's say they get him. Waddle, you have to have a safety always having him in mind. It just takes so many guys out of the equation and it makes it so much more unpredictable. And that's the word we've been using over and over again, predictability. The Giants offense, we're calling the plays before they're even happening on live television. And everyone's an amateur for the most part. We're just calling the plays. And we're like, Jason Garrett, man, like if we can call the plays, the NFL level defensive coordinators already know your playbook, bro. That's the reality. So I think that, you get a guy like Waddle, it really opens up the playbook and allows you to get creative.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love, even on this play, like Anthony said, yeah, he drops the ball, but another, people complain, you say that they worry about his route running. Route looks pretty good to me. Created separation. He just, there's one that he ends up dropping, but guy's fast. I think the guy's versatile, something that Joe Judge wants. And I think the guy is a good route runner. He also has great leaping ability, like you saw in that jump ball where he sailed like Superman. So he's got all the tools you want, in my opinion. Outside of maybe you wish he was 6'1", 6'2", but kind of like Jamar Chase or DeVonta Smith. But I'm a big fan of him, and he is by far the most explosive of the three wide receivers. And Giants end up getting him on draft, and I think a lot of Giants fans are going to be really excited.
Oh, yeah. Anthony, what are your final remarks on Mr. Jaylen Waddle?
Well, if the Giants do get him on draft night, I will buy his jersey instantly. I'm a huge Jaylen Waddle fan. I'm excited. I can't wait to see him in the NFL, no matter where he goes, as long as it's not somewhere else in the NFC East, because that would kind of break my heart. I'm sure you feel the same way, Chris. But Jaylen Waddle, man, he's my wide receiver too in this draft class right now. I'm going to continue to evaluate these guys. Maybe it'll fluctuate. Maybe he'll rise to 1 or drop to 3 again. I don't know. We'll see. But just the speed. You can't teach the speed, and speed kills, right? Speed is just the killer in the NFL today. You watch the Chiefs, you watch even the the Buccaneers, you look at these two teams that we have in the Super Bowl and the way that they use their speedy wide receivers to open up the vertical passing game. The Giants had no vertical passing game this year. Did they just not have a vertical threat, or was it the playbook? Well, getting Jaylen Waddle on this team will open up the playbook, and it will give us a vertical passing game and give us that vertical threat that we desperately need. He's very exciting. He's a very good route runner too for, he's not just a straight speed guy. He can do a lot. And it's the same thing with Henry Ruggs last year. A lot of people thought he was a straight speed guy. I thought he could do a lot more. And I think he showed that at times during his rookie season. But I think that Jaylen Waddle, actually, I like him more than I liked Henry Ruggs, in all honesty. And he has the ability to go up there and make some crazy catches too. He's very, very exciting, very interesting prospect. And, I'm excited to see where he goes. And hopefully we could see him wearing some big blue. That would be cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'd be totally fine with him, signing up to be with the Giants. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with a bunch of these wide receivers, even if we have to wait till the second round if they find a better prospect or whatnot, and they want to solve a positional need. But in my opinion, they're going best player available, and Jaylen Waddle is a freaking amazing player. And you don't pass on a guy like that unless you have DeVonta Smith or Jamar Chase on the board still. And I expect a bunch of quarterbacks to go off the board, like right on the top 5, top 6. So there's going to be a guy that falls to the Giants. And it's going to be really hard to pass on a guy like him or Kyle Pitts. And we've done a couple of film reviews already. But I'm excited to get moving forward with more film reviews as we go on, getting some of these really quality players on tape and showing you guys what they're capable of doing. But as always, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this latest Jaylen Waddle film session. And thank you, Chris, for joining the channel this week. We're going to be doing so much more film. Chris has a lot of great ideas in mind. We're going to do multiple as the draft gets closer and closer. We're going to do those sleeper picks, 4th and 5th round guys you don't really hear about that we think might be positional steals for the Giants as they try to fill some holes. But Chris, thank you so much again. And I'll give you the final word.
No, thank you for having me on, man. Looking forward to doing it again next week. And like you said, and maybe we'll do Jamar Chase, maybe we'll do a defensive guy. We'll talk about it. But like you said, as the draft gets closer, you will ramp it up. Right now we're kind of 3 months out. You want to go over the heavy hitters, but as it gets closer, there's tons of prospects to look at. There's 7 rounds in the NFL, and I'm looking forward to learning more with you guys about all these guys. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Always like talking draft, and yeah, man, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to having you on my channel next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you as always. And make sure, if you don't already follow Chris, I imagine you do, but make sure to go hit up his channel. The best in the business. He's just super entertaining stuff as always, and he gets stuff out instantaneously. Personally, my favorite Giants YouTuber, more than myself and Anthony. That's how much we love Chris. So as always, guys, thank you so much. We'll catch you guys on the next one.